I was on a podcast the other day and they were talking about perimenopause because the host, it was Jen and Juice podcast with Mrs. Kev on stage and her sister Mel. And they were talking about, Melissa was talking about perimenopause and like how it's tearing her down. And then somebody in the chat was like, because I think I had said like, and there's another 10 years of this or something like that. And she was like, hey, girl, it don't go away. And I was like, what are you talking about, Miss Ma'am? What you mean it don't go away? Ha, ha. What you saying? What are you saying? So I'm still trying to process that because the hell. So the chat says, wow, that's really not fair. WTF. And they want us sane. The fuck? So anyway, here I am living out loud through this through perimenopause and everything else that comes with it. But I'm really grateful that there are so many of us right now on social media spaces that are talking about this because I feel like in times past that conversation was not being had. And I feel like women have had to navigate this on their own like their entire lives because like mothers or grandmas or whomever don't like sit down and prepare you for it. The other thing that I learned is that you start getting symptoms in your 30s, but we don't know. So what happens, for instance, I mentioned ADHD is in full effect. That is one of the symptoms of perimenopause is like ADHD, like I said, brain fog. And then if you are neurodivergent, it all kind of comes crashing together because you also have probably been masking your entire life and you are finally figuring out, I don't like this and I don't want to do this anymore in the midst of the perimenopausal hormonal changes and drops in estrogen and like all that kind of stuff. It's a lot to be navigating and figuring out. And so to any men folk who wind up listening to this, and again shout outs to the men folk that are here with us, I think it's really, 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 really important for you all to educate yourselves on the things that we have to go through as women, especially because we experience symptoms and things every month. And so a lot of men that I know, I remember I was talking to a man one time and he was like, that's woman things. I stay out of that. No, 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 no. It's important because y'all be stressing us the hell out. Y'all be stressing us the hell out. So if you can be aware of what we are already having to experience, where we are already having to manage, where we are already having to navigate, don't be an extra headache. But seriously though, so I think it's really, really important. I know. It is very, very, very important for us to be educated on what is happening with each other, but definitely for women's health because women's health has been so underfunded and understudied. And again, we just finding out stuff and we live in these bodies. All right, let's get started, Joe. Somebody left a comment last week. Was that last week? It might have been, I don't remember. But they were like, girl, you be coming out the gate swinging because I be having stuff I need to say. And I hold it for this because it be too much going on. And I be needing to get some things off my chest. You feel me? All right, for real this time. Hey, y'all. I'm Kimberlyn, and this is the Frolicking Truth, a soft space for Black women who are tired, brilliant, and ready to heal. Here, joy meets justice. We calm our Black ass nervous systems, we unmask, and we leave behind whatever that is trying to kill us. You're seen here, you're safe here, and you don't have to do this alone. Before I get into anything, I need to let y'all know that this is my birthday episode. So this episode is airing on my birthday today. Well, not today when I'm recording this, but today when this airs. This is February 14th, 2026, and it is my 45th birthday. So I'm excited that y'all are here. So come on in here, y'all. Come on in. Have a seat, get comfortable, and all the things. This is episode 38 of the Frolicking Truth podcast for Black women who are tired, brilliant, and ready to heal, where joy meets justice and nervous systems get free. It is okay if you don't identify with any of those descriptors. It just means that when you come ready to listen, ready to learn, and ready to support. So, shout out to the chat who is here with me. And they are in the archive. They are part of the inner circle. They are keepers. They are the folks that are connected to our Patreon community. So if you are saying to yourself, girl, this feels like a really good time, and I would so love to be there with you as you are recording this, it would be really amazing for you to join the archive. Now, I do have a big announcement that I'm going to give in just a little bit, but before I get to that, if you go to patreon.com/minding my black ass business, you are able to join the archive. You can actually join on a 7-day free trial if you join through the inner circle. Okay. But it's $5 a month to be a part of the archive. And that is the way that you get all of the right now things that are happening in the Mind of My Black Ass Business universe, in Kimberlyn Jackson's universe. That's where things go first. Okay. That's also where community lives. So we are getting the people in the doors. All right. Now, if you're saying to yourself, I don't have $5 a month, I get it. All right. You can still join for free though, because you will still get notifications, and you'll also get the notifications when things premiere. For instance, when this episode premieres, or so you don't put syrup on your grilled cheese, or heal that shit, or our new podcast from Auntie with Love. Okay, come on into the archive. Shout out to the chat. They're here with me. They're celebrating with me. Birthday episode. Let's go. They said 45. Happy birthday. Let's go. Leg out. All right. So shout out to them. Shout out to y'all. Come on in and hang out. If you have not already subscribed to this page, what you doing? What you doing? I need you to go ahead on and click subscribe. Okay. I need you to like the video. All right. And I need you to leave a comment. Now, if you're watching this live, you can come into the chat, because we're also in the live chat, because again, it's my birthday. Okay. We're also in the live chat. So you have the opportunity to come and hang out with the people in the live chat that are here watching the premiere with us. I'm in there. You can ask questions. Y'all can talk to each other, like all of the things. And so if you are here during this live premiere, you're able to do that. If you're catching the replay, leave me a comment. Even if the comment is just some sunflowers, leave me a comment, all right? Because all of that helps to push us out into the algorithm. And that's what we're trying to do, is find the people who are looking for us, okay? And when I say us, I mean the community us, but also me, myself, and I. All right. Let me get focused, y'all, because my brain people are all over the place, but I'm gonna get them here into the room so we can do our auntie check-in for today. And if you have been hanging out with me over the past few weeks, you have seen a couple revelations in real time that have happened. And one of those revelations is people out here calling me a witch. And I'm still trying to wrap my mind around that. Still trying to wrap my mind around that. But also, I guess I'm about to talk about some real witchy stuff, because this is what I need you to know. Mercury retrograde is about to start. Okay. Now, I did not believe in Mercury retrograde for a very long time. I was not, I grew up believing that astrology and anything that was talking about the stars and all of that was the devil's work. The devil. You can't look at no horoscope. You can't do none of that. All you could barely even talk about that, what your sign was. Okay, devil, right? But over time, I've gotten very interested and curious because again, I told y'all I'm a scientist, right? Now, granted, space science and astronomy and all of that is not my area of expertise at all. As a matter of fact, I taught eighth grade for 2 years. And when I taught eighth grade, I had to teach space science. And my kids used to be so excited. And I used to be like, I don't know what the hell this book is talking about. They would come in the class and they would be like, Miss Jackson, if a red giant goes into a black hole, does it become a nebula? And I'm like, why don't you research that? And then I'll give you some extra credit points if you present to the class tomorrow. I don't know. My degree is in biology. Okay. I have no idea. But nonetheless, over time, I have tried to increase my understanding of what has happened because of what is happening because I understand energy. And so I know that we have tides, right? TIDE, tides that control the water. And there's high tide and low tide, and that's controlled by the moon, right? So clearly there's something that the moon is doing that is causing these tides. There are shifts, there are things that are happening. And being an educator, baby, them full moon times, oh, it be off the chain. It be off the chain when it's a full moon outside. The children, they be crazy. They be straight nuts. So as I started seeing that, I started getting more curious about the things that are happening astrologically that may be impacting what is going on, right? And one of those things is Mercury retrograde. So basically, Mercury retrograde is when the planet Mercury appears to move backwards. Side note, because again, ADHD is here. How did y'all learn the order of the planets? So I used to love the planetarium when I was younger. This is so contradictory, it seems. I wonder why I lost my love for astrology. I don't know. Anyway, when I was younger, I used to love to go to the planetarium and they taught us a song to learn the order of the planets. And it went like this. My very educated mother just served us 9 piece of pies. I don't know. I don't know where I picked it up from. I don't know if it was at the planetarium. I don't know if it was on PBS. I don't know. But those are the order of the planets. So it's Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Now, you know, Pluto is not a planet anymore. We're not going to get into all of that. But anyway, this is my thing. This is my thing. Um, I really have gained a respect, right, for this Mercury retrograde and what happens. So Mercury is the first planet that's closest to the sun, and during certain times of the year, the planet appears to move backwards. Now they say it don't move backwards for real, but I don't really know because I'm not out there, so I don't know. But this is what I can tell you that happens. So it's coming up this month through February 26th through March 20th. They're calling it a Mercury retrograde in Pisces. I don't know what that means either because I'm not a Pisces, so I don't really be studying what Pisces do. But Pisces season, I know, is after Aquarius season, which is right now. Okay. So it's supposed to be happening. It starts on the 26th of February, but there's always a shadow period before it happens and after it happens. And the shadow period started today. Today is February 11th. And this is what I want you to know that happens during Mercury retrograde so that you can prepare yourself. Okay. And that you can honor the things that happen during these times and be really intentional about how you're moving. The first thing that you need to understand is there are technology problems during Mercury retrograde. So that looks like your gadgets and technology is glitching, data might disappear, computer errors, dropped calls, like anything that works in the world of technology don't really be working how it's supposed to work during Mercury retrograde. And so during the shadow period before and after, you start to see those types of glitches that are happening. Now, before I worked primarily online, I did not believe this was a thing. I was like, y'all so crazy. Y'all just out there talking crazy. And then I started working primarily online and I said, this is a real thing. Cause stuff really be going wild and it's unexplainable. Like things could be working the previous day and then all of a sudden no, it just don't work. So it's important for us to know that so that we can like prep ourselves and put your patience in your pocket because stuff be going on. The other thing, there are a few. So another one is communication issues. So they tell you during Mercury retrograde not to like sign any contracts during that time and to be very, very aware of how you are communicating within your relationships with other people because there are a lot of misunderstandings that happen during this time, a lot of arguments, people feel unheard, you have difficulty expressing your thoughts. And so that can cause relationship stress. So that can cause conflict, that can cause sensitivity within your relationship. It also digs up people from the past, if that is applicable to anyone. All right. So if folks start coming out the woodworks, that's that Mercury retrograde digging them up. Okay. So that happens. Also travel delays. So shout out to the chat. So Tool shared in the chat said something was going on with his car. He was like, I thought that I had a real simple issue, whatever that was gonna happen with the car. I was about to do it bada bing, bada boom, and then all of a sudden it was like, that's gonna be a whole lot more intricate. So travel delays happen during Mercury retrograde, flight cancellations, car troubles, and general transportation mishaps are one of the things that happen during Mercury retrograde. The other thing is mental fog. So difficulty concentrating, forgetfulness, self-doubt, and overthinking. All right. So I need us to process all of this and keep this in our minds because what can happen is if you're not thinking about that, you're getting so frustrated and like so upset and it's making things worse. But if we can understand, okay, it's going to be about a month of time that stuff is going to be acting real wonky and I need to be really intentional about the ways that I'm moving, the ways that I'm communicating. I also need to understand everybody isn't aware of this. So they might be behaving in ways and they don't realize why they're behaving that ways. So you're able to keep yourself grounded and keep your mind intact about what's going on. Okay. So these are some recommended actions for what this might look like during the time. It says to review and reflect. So revisit old projects, clear clutter, and focus on internal reflection rather than external progress. So this is the time where we go inside and think about the things that we need to wrap up. What does this look like for me? What type of reflections do I need to do? Make sure you're double checking everything. So carefully review your emails, your contracts, and your travel plans. Back up your data and things that are important to you. So, and protect your devices from those types of tech issues. Be flexible and plan for delays. Expect delays. Okay. So don't wait till the last minute. You got to be somewhere at 2:30 and you leaving the house at 2:15 and you know it takes you exactly 15 minutes to get there. Mm-mm. We need to put cushion in place so that we're not stressing ourselves out, okay? Because you're not the only one that's in this world. There's other people, and they probably not aware of what's going on. So because you are aware, that means that you need to add in some buffer time so you don't be stressing yourself out, making your nerves bad, okay? I already mentioned postpone signing contracts if you are able to, and also postpone starting new ventures until after Mercury retrograde ends. Now, what are the positive things about this? This is a time for introspection, self-work, and gaining clarity. And it's an opportunity to strengthen your relationships by going deeper. So this is a time where you really want to ask. I sound like one of the readers out here on the out here on the social media, but It's true. But this is a time where you really want to ask intentional questions and make sure that you're understanding. So seek to understand instead of seeking to respond. If somebody is saying something to you that doesn't feel aligned, make sure that you are understanding what they're actually trying to say because they may be miscommunicating during this time because that's really present. And this is a chance to slow down and recalibrate. All right. So I wanted to put that right here up at the top because that's impacting everything that's happening. Okay. So again, Mercury retrograde is going to be from February 26th to March 20th, but we are currently in the shadow period right now. The shadow period is 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after. So it winds up being, I guess, like almost a 2 month period that Mercury is in retrograde. So be aware of all those things. Okay. All right. Now, two other things. I cut about 2 inches off of Raina the other day, y'all. And honestly, I wanted to just cut it all off, to be honest with you. I really did. But I needed to, I felt like my curls were not really springing like I needed them to towards the end. So I just went on and just chopped some of it off. And you can kind of tell, but not really. And then it's pieces like this piece, wait. This piece right here, that's a little longer. I think I'm gonna have to cut some more of it off too, because he'll be doing that. So I just be stuffing it up in there. But anyway, Raina is doing well for the most part, and she appreciates a little refresh or whatever, curls popping and things. So I did want to tell y'all that because a couple people noticed I had sent out a picture. They were like, "You cut your hair?" I did, and I might cut it all off. You just never know. The chat says a good trim never hurt nobody. You understand? And I don't have a stylist anymore. So it's me, So I had to do what I had to do. And yes, it does feel better. Raina feels like she's doing a better job with getting that little curl at the end, which is what I was really going for. So I'm excited about that and glad that I could, bring her some revival. And I've asked myself a few times, like, what end are we doing this hair thing? Like, how long are we really letting the hair get? I don't really need hair down my back. I'm straight on that. I really am. I really am. I was looking at some old pictures the other day and I was like, I've always had hair now. Something I could do is grow some hair. Okay. So I don't really be concerned when I cut my hair because it's gonna grow right back. And I know everybody can't say that, but that is one of the things. And it's a blessing, a curse, a blessing and a curse. Okay, because hair grows on my body. And also hair grows on my body. Okay. So I try not to I try not to look at it like it's a bad thing because some people wish that they had a lot of hair. And I do. So anyway, Raina and I are figuring out what this looks like. I don't know what 45 looks like for the hair journey, but we'll see. But don't be surprised if you come on here one day and you're like, she cut off all her hair. It's very possible. I might. Also, it'd be hot. You know? So yeah, so that's the Raina update. All right, I know I'm going through all this fast because we got a lot that we need to get into, y'all. So before I get into the things I said, I had a big announcement in a minute. I'm gonna share that, but I wanted to say, so we had the healing circle this morning for the birthday edition, okay? And this month we talked about self-love and what that looks like to really honor our heart chakra and our root chakra and just really get ourselves in a position to think about how we're showing up for ourselves. If you missed it, you missed a treat. But you can join us for the Healing Circle every second Saturday of the month. Now, the Healing Circle is a space exclusively for Black women from anywhere in the world, okay? Just have to identify as a Black woman. And it's a space where we come to reconnect to our breath and reconnect to our bodies. And then we have intentional conversation about a theme for the month. And then we do a yoga flow to support that. So remember, I partner with the well educator, Vanessa, and we working on the things. So if that sounds like something that you want to be a part of, you can go ahead and register at tinyurl.com/Black Women Healing Circle to get your name on the list and get you registered. All right. Bet. Now, the big announcement that I have that I want to share. I'm not about to be doing this no more, y'all. And when I say this, I mean pre-recording, editing, and premiering. I can't take the editing process anymore. I can't do it. This is probably the last edited episode that y'all are going to get because when I tell you the amount of time that I have to spend editing, it takes up at least 3 days of my life. Now, granted, not 3 days sitting in front of the computer for 3 days, but I have to work on it for 3 consecutive days because I also have other things that I'm doing. I don't have time for that. I can't. I can't make it work. I can't make it make sense. I can't do it anymore. Okay. So, what does that look like for y'all? We are shifting into a live experience. Okay. Live experiences. Because after the live, all I have to do is press end. And now we're done with it, right? So I'm always been the type of person, I think I shared this before, that my favorite book is Cheaper by the Dozen, not the movie, the book. I have shared this. I don't know what episode it was. But anyway, Cheaper by the Dozen, the dad was an efficiency expert. And one of the big things with efficiency is not having multiple touches of the same thing. And I feel like I have had to touch the podcast 17 times from the moment I recorded to the moment that it premieres. It's too much. So I need to reduce those touches. And so we're going to shift to live. So basically we'll do the live, and like I said, after I press end, it'll be over. So those of you who are in the archive, you will still have the Wednesday time slot that we record Wednesdays at 11. Okay. That will be a live episode where we're going to chat it up about different things. We're going to be talking about dating stories. We're going to be talking about shower thoughts. We just going to be talking. All right. We might do Q&As, like all of that, but that's going to be the exclusive time with the people that are in the Patreon so that we are able to still have our intentional time together and, love on each other and learn things about each other. Okay. So that's for the folks that are in the archive. Now, if you're not in the archive, then that means that you will get a live on Saturdays, again, same time, Saturdays at 11. It'll just be live as opposed to being recorded. So you'll have the opportunity to actually talk to me, not just in the chat during the live premiere, but you'll be able to talk to me during the live show. So I'll come with things prepared and, we'll go through the whole thing, the bada bing, bada booms. And then much kind of like, so you don't put syrup on your grilled cheese, the way that it operates. So, yeah, that's what we shift into. Okay, so live experiences are coming henceforth. The chat says, I swear you're a superwoman. Listen, take off this cape. You understand? Burn it. I'm over it. I don't want it no more. All right. So for year 45, we got to unload some things because I have been carrying a lot of things that I don't want to carry anymore. And I need to figure out how to not carry it. So this is a part of the offloading of the things. All right. So prepare your hearts and minds and spirits, so whatever that needs to look like. Okay. Again, if you're used to being here on Saturdays at 11, you'll still be here on Saturdays at 11. You'll just have that live experience. And if you are in the inner circle, you get your added live experience on Wednesdays at 11. Put it on your calendar. Go ahead and put it on your calendar because your show is on. Y'all remember back in the day when we used to like have to actually be home when stuff came on TV? You had to actually be there. It's like the show is on, and like the commercials would come on, and then you like hurry up and go to the bathroom, and then you gotta dive over the sofa so that you could get back before you missed anything. We're moving back to that. All right. We're moving back to that. You will have a live replay. So if you missed the live, you can always catch the replay. But we're moving back to live. Okay. It's better. It's better for all of us. All right. So thank you for adjusting accordingly. Go ahead and mark your calendars. Put me on there. Put me into your routine. Put me into your things. Okay. All right. What if the thing you've always called too much was the exact thing God designed on purpose? This is for the ones who've always known they were different. Too sensitive, too loud, too knowing, too intuitive, too woo-woo. But what if your sensitivity is actually your superpower? What if your intuition was your inheritance? Discover Your Destiny is a 10-week sacred journey back to yourself. We explore the design of your soul, your spiritual gifts, and the unique way that God speaks to you. This isn't church. It's not a rule book. It's not a performance. It's the moment you stop chasing approval and start walking in divine alignment. You'll gain clarity, language, and confidence around who you are and what you are here on the earth to do. You'll learn the real voice of God. And if you feel called to go on to become a certified intuitive melanated life coach, this is where that path begins. There are 2 ways to enter this sacred container: the Destiny track, full investments and coaching experience, or the Divine Exchange track, where internship meets soul work. You'll support podcasting, content creation, or brand development behind the scenes while learning how your unique gifts benefit the collective. Your knowing isn't a flaw, it's the fingerprint of God. This is your invitation, and I hope that you'll answer. We are still collecting applications for Found Her Future and for Discover Your Destiny. So keeping in mind that Found Her Future Collective is the Divine Exchange track that you're able to enter into Discover Your Destiny. So everyone who is a part of Found Her Future is able to go through Discover Your Destiny. And then on the back end of that, we are bartering services to be able to bring some of these projects to life that we have out here. And y'all, they're dope. I'm really excited about that. But I want you to go ahead and make sure that you get connected because the window is closing. The window is closing. All right. So the next cohort of Discover Your Destiny starts on March 5th. 2026. Okay. So that means that you need to go to dyd25.com to go ahead and fill out the intake form. If you want to go through the Divine Exchange track, then you need to go to tinyurl.com/foundherfuture. Okay. Either of those ways will get you in the door. All right. But we need to go ahead on and get on the good foot. Now, some of y'all been messaging me on the side. Hey, Kimberly, when is the thing in the such and a so? Hey, I need you to tap in, all right? Because again, remember I said I'm trying to offload some things and we got systems in place, right? So I need you to go ahead on and go to the things, put the things on the calendars so that you're able to take care of the business. You feel me? Because I made a post the other day and I was talking about how all of us have a role. Every single one of us have a role in this fight. So for instance, I'll use my aunt. She's hanging out here with me in the chat. She certifies people in CPR. CPR is essential when you are talking about creating community and caring for people. How many of y'all have had CPR certification before? Tell me in the chat or tell me in the comments. Because if you have not, that is really something that you should have in your toolkit, if you will. So CPR, also the Heimlich maneuver, a lot of times comes with that, right? But I haven't had my CPR certification updated probably since I left the classroom. I feel like so that would have been 2012. It's probably a lot that has changed since then, right? Because like it's certain songs that you got to do the beat to and all that, and hey, clear the way, and go call the police. Like there are certain specific things that you're supposed to do. Not the police, the EMS. Go call the EMS so somebody can come and support while you are doing CPR. And like it really is life saving. And so it is a skill set that we need to have, right? So that's something that is not really on the front lines of protest, but it is essential to ensuring that we are able to care for each other in this world that is coming up. I'm not getting into all the things that's happening right now, and I honestly haven't even really watched anything over the past week to even know what's happening in the world. I really had to unplug for my own mental health. But my point is, we all have to figure out what our role is in this revolution and what our role is in community. That's what Discover Your Destiny is for. Okay. So if you are asking yourself what that looks like, if you are asking yourself, how does my skill set fit into everything? I need you to go to dyd25.com. I need you to fill out the intake form so that we can talk and we can get you on the road to making sure that you're prepared and in purpose. All right. All right. That's it with the announcement. Let's get into the thing. Okay. Now, first, we're going to start off with I had put in an assignment into the archive. And I told the people that we were going to talk about this podcast episode that I watched the other day. So here we are, frolicking in the feed. Kev on Stage Fredericks is one of my favorite creators, content creators that is out here. He really has left a blueprint for all of us that are in content creation. And I've been following Kevin for a very long time. I'm talking since Periscope. And like it's been a minute since his boys were little. And one of his boys, his youngest boy, is now a senior in high school. His oldest is a sophomore in college. So it's been a minute. Like the boys were little bitty when I first started following Kevin. But anyway, he has a new podcast called Not My Best Moments, which is loosely based on his newest book, which is called Successful Failure. All right. So shout out to the stage crew and the Boo Hive and the folks that are connected, the Angel Wings, the bakery, all the people that are connected to the Kev on Stage universe. Shout out to all of them. So anyway, Kevin has a new podcast called Not My Best Moment, and he had Lovey Ajayi Jones on there this past week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. And I've also talked about Lovey before because Lovey is she got famous being a blogger, and I'm using famous loosely. I don't know what really like over when you get into fame, but she became known, let's just say that she became known for being a blogger, and she used to do scandal recaps. And so she's a writer and a social media content creator. She specializes in marketing and branding and all of the things. So Lovey had a book. She wrote a book called Professional Troublemaker, and it came out, I want to say, in 2021. And I actually did a book study with some folks in 2021, and we read through it. Professional Troublemaker is one of the few books that I carry physically with me because y'all may or may not know, all of my things fit in 3 suitcases in a backpack. So I don't have a lot of space for books, and I had to get rid of a lot of books when I left the US. But Lovey's book, Professional Troublemaker, is one of the books that I actually carry with me. And I use it in Discover Your Destiny because we have orikis that we make. So if you all watch So You Don't Put Syrup on Your Grilled Cheese, you'll hear Kalanda and I introduce ourselves, and we're like, my name is Kimberlyn, Thailand, House of Jackson, Adams, and O'Neill, and all the other things that I say because I don't know mine by heart. But anyway, that comes from Lovey's book and all of the information that I learned from her book. Anyway, so Kevin had Lovey on the podcast, and it was a really intriguing podcast for me because Lovey lives in this online social media world. So a lot of their conversation was about how you show up as a creator or a creative online and what that looks like and sounds like, and what happens when there is backlash that is attached to that. So the two things that she said that resonated with me most. The first is when she said, once you get to a certain level, people stop looking at us as humans and they see us as brands. And something for me that I try to be intentional in doing is that I am a human being. I am a human. I am literally trying to figure this out just like everybody else. And I might be further along the road or I've seen more things and I'm letting you know, hey, it's some traps up here. Don't go that way. It'd be better to go this way because over there they're knocking people down and they're doing all this, right? I feel like that is my goal, but I don't ever want that to be misinterpreted as I have it all figured out because I don't. This is my first time doing life too. This my first time here on this planet as well, right? And I think that especially when we're talking about social media and how we show up on social media, if we're not intentional in remaining connected to our humanity, people will dehumanize us and they will treat you like you're not a human being, like you don't have feelings, like you don't have hard times, like everything is just fine. And then also realizing on social media that is a highlight reel, right? Even if you are sharing the highs and lows on social media, you are still only sharing a snippet of your life. There are 24 hours in every day, and even if you post in several times a day, you still only sharing a snippet of what's actually happening in your life. And so sometimes it's really difficult for people to keep that in mind. And so when we're having communications in those spaces, it's important to remember that these are humans that we're talking to, even if they are more highly visible humans. And as someone, I do consider myself highly visible. And when I say highly visible, I basically, for me, that means that there are more people that know me than I know them. So there are people on this planet that if somebody was like, you know, Kimberly, and they're like, yeah, oh, but she the girl on the thing, used to be on the talk show. Remember she had the beautiful brown girls and stuff? Yes, I know her. But they don't actually know me. They don't have my phone number. Like they don't actually know me. And they have not personally interacted with me. There are a lot of people that can say that about me. So because of that, it's made me hyper aware of reminding people I'm a human. I'm a human. And I need you to take me down off whatever pedestal that you put me on because I am a human. And humans will disappoint other humans at some point. At some point, y'all gonna be like, I can't believe she said that. I can't believe she did that. I can At some point, you're not gonna agree with something, and that is absolutely okay. That is absolutely okay. So I think that is important to keep at the forefront of all the things that we're doing, especially in these virtual communications. The other thing that Lovey said that I really appreciated was people root for David until they feel like you are Goliath. And this is what I want us to know is that is completely subjective. Somebody's perception of what you have accomplished and how far you are along the road is completely up to their perspective and is fueled by their projections based on their own perspective of where they are in life. And sometimes that is mixed with jealousy and envy and all sorts of other things. So there have been times where just the other day I was talking to somebody and they hit me with a I don't remember what we were saying, but they hit me with I mean, okay, Colombia, you doing it big in Colombia. And it's like, yes, I live in Colombia because I left the US to save my life. Also, I'm not out here making it rain and like gallivanting all over the place and trying to be like queen energy and I'm reigning over this and I'm not I live a very simple life here in Colombia. I am literally sitting on the floor right now. I don't even have a chair in my house. So like but their perception of who I am and what I have achieved or what I've been able to do is because they want to be out of the rat race and they feel like they're being held hostage by all of the house and the bills and the car and the job and all the children and whatever their life choices might be because they're feeling stuck. Then they take that and then they project that onto me like must be nice. And yes, it is nice to not have to live in the US. It is nice to be able to better afford a living and not have to spend 70% of my income on housing. It is nice to be able to have access to healthy food. Yes, and also we should have that in the US. We don't. We should. Right. But I'm not from a space of I'm doing this because I'm better than you. I did this because I had to save my life. And that's why I made these choices. But depending on how someone else is receiving that, now they're looking at me like she done made it. She Goliath, she out there doing whatever. And that leads to people actively trying to ruin your life. Lovey talked about in the podcast, she was like, some people really be trying to come for your livelihood. Like they really be praying for your downfall. And I have experienced that a lot, a lot. And it is because of this perceived you made it and I didn't make it. So now I want you to fail. And I want y'all to know that that is sick. Okay. So if you find yourself feeling that way, that's something that needs to be healed inside you. That's not the issue with the other person because, again, you've only seen a snippet of their life. You have no idea what their actual life looks like. So to project that type of energy onto someone is a sickness. And I need you to figure out, I need you to get to therapy. I need you to do some inner work. I need you to deal with your shadow parts, all of that. I need you to do that work because that's not healthy to be preying on somebody's downfall. That's not what that's supposed to look like and sound like. We are supposed to be uplifting each other and working together in community and seeing how we can be a support to someone else. I'm going to take one of the comments. It says, people give out so much hate on us based on their distorted perception of us. Even I have to correct myself if I just form opinions on others based on visual cues of what's going on in their life. Yeah. And so, one of the reasons that one of my philosophies in life is curiosity over judgment, I used to be real judgmental, y'all. I've talked about it very freely here, and I'll continue to talk about it freely because I used to be so, so judgmental. I had really, really, really problematic views, especially when it came to religion and the way that people showed up in life. Very problematic. Like I was the captain of sending people to hell with gasoline draws on. You need somebody to be damned to hell? Send me. I will tell them, go now. Like I really, really, really had problematic views. But also, um, I haven't deleted any of those posts or any of those comments or any of those things because I think it's also important to understand that we can grow and we can change and we can choose different ways to look at the world. And I think sometimes we leave people beyond or feel that people are beyond restoration. Now, mind you, everybody can't be restored into relationships. So I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that it is possible to actually interrogate your thoughts and your biases and decide that actually doesn't align with who I am and how I look at the world and how I want to interact with other people. But that means that you have to be asking yourself the questions about how you are interacting with other people and looking at the world and perceiving what it is that they're putting out. And that is a brave thing to do. And it is also very uncommon. Many people do not care about their problematic views, they just have them. They don't care to unpack them and to figure out where they came from. And for myself, I realized that a lot of my problematic views came from views that were given to me. I am currently taking someone through their life coaching certification journey. And one of the things that we talk about if you choose to become an intuitive melanated life coach is bias and how we developed our understanding of who we are, our racial identity development, and all of that. And when we took that journey, like, okay, so how did you learn, what it meant to be Black, or how did you address what this looks like, or Blackness versus whiteness versus otherness? Like, how does that show up for you? I realized that those views were given until we get to a certain point where we've had enough exposure, where we have become curious, where we have been around other types of people, that we start to say, I don't I don't think I really align with that anymore. I don't I don't agree with that. I don't honor that. Even though I may have learned that in my house, even though my parents may still feel that way, even though my church may feel that way, even though whatever, I don't agree with that anymore. And we start to amend those views and hopefully repair the harm that has been caused because of problematic views. But the first part of that is accepting accountability and saying that wasn't okay. And so for me, I don't ever mind if someone is like, nah, because you used to. I'll give you an example. So I just made a video the other day because I got some new plant-based medicine. And I'm really excited about it, by the way. I'm only on is this day 3? I think this is day 3. But I am starting to see a difference using this particular plant medicine. But anyway, having said that, I grew up in the say no to drugs era. So everything was a drug, okay, except for actual pharmaceutical drugs. Those were great. Those were fine. Pump yourself full of those. You don't know what's in it, but it's okay. Take it. It's fine. Those weren't drugs, but natural plant-based medicine, I grew up believing that that was a drug. And so I was very, very judgmental about people who use plant-based medicine and the ways that I didn't even leave any space for grace at all. I was just like, you using that and you're a drug addict. Go to hell. Gasoline draws on, because that's my specialty, right? So, but over time, with more information, more study, more curiosity, I have embraced plant-based medicine as my primary medicinal support. And so, anyway, um, that's not, if you went and you looked at stuff from, let's say, 12 years ago, when I was deep in the church and I was like trying to be the super Christian and like all of that, problematic, but also not anymore. So I'm able to work myself out of that. So if you go back and you find that, and then you be like, you had said this, I did. And let me tell you how I got myself out of that mindset. For me, that journey is really important. And so I'm not team go delete all the things. I'm team, yeah, let's talk about it. Because I did say that. And I realized that that was really hurtful and harmful. And I shouldn't have said that. I was tripping. The comment says, same. I believed all those don't do drugs messages in American cartoons. I was so judgmental. And so when we start to really unpack where we got our views from, then we're able to amend those views so they align with what we actually believe. But that honestly really doesn't happen probably until about 30. Probably until about 30. That's when you start to be like, I think I agree with that anymore. Um, and it's a part of life. It's a part of you deciding how you're going to show up, as opposed to people telling you how you need to show up. Okay, so the last thing that Lovey said is that we can't allow people to take us away from what God told us to do. And that really, really resonated with me, because I don't know if y'all have heard people say this before, but like, God did not get you on a conference call with all of your friends and family and be like, listen, this is what's going to happen. The conversations and the revelations that we get from God are personal. Like, God puts that into your spirit. And so it's very possible that you may explain that to somebody else, and somebody else, because they weren't on the call, are not supportive, or they don't understand, or they're approaching it with fear, or they're, talking down on it or whatever. And this is why I stress having a personal relationship with God, because God told you what God told you to do. God told you what God told you to do. And that is what is most important. So even when it doesn't make sense, even when we fight in tooth and nail, because let me tell you something, me and God be in here going back and forth. You understand me? Because why we gotta have all this drama? Huh? Why we gotta have these last minute swooping super climax situations, and why we gotta do all this, God? Huh? Now I'm gonna give you your glory regardless. But why you gotta take me through that? I don't wanna go through that. I don't wanna go through there. Okay? But nonetheless, this is the assignment that my spirit selected, right? So I feel like, did I talk about? Oh, it's a video I'm about to put out, how I used to then ask questions, because I was trained not to ask questions of God. But now I got questions. God, what is happening? What am I supposed to be doing? But at the end of the day, the day gonna end. No. At the end of the day, we have received specific instructions that we are supposed to live out. So my question to you is, what are those instructions? What are you supposed to be doing? And what do you need to do to course correct to get back aligned to what your mission is here on this earth? Now, you may or may not know what that is. It's highly likely, though, that you do. And it may be something that you have not seen happen before, because that too is a lot of trailblazing energy out here. And when you're the first person blazing a trail to go somewhere, there's no blueprint. You just figuring it out as you go, right? And so it feels overwhelming because you don't necessarily have people that you could go and ask for information. You don't have, you don't have a blueprint. Like, you literally out here cutting down the path for the first time. That's a lot. But also, that doesn't mean that it's wrong. That means that you got to lock in with God so that you can do what God told you to do. Because if you don't do it, you're going to have to keep coming back to it. That's what I want you to know. Okay? If you don't do it, you're going to have to keep coming back to it, because that is the path. That is the path, regardless. So I want to grab a couple of these comments over here. This one says, you're talking so good. The more I know about God, the more bold I feel about going to God for clarity and for divine clarity. Yes, this is why I be telling us we have to have a personal relationship with God, because God will give you, God be sending me emails, God be sending me songs, God be sending me people. Like, God will make it very clear. All we have to do is just get curious and ask. But that's not necessarily in people that don't have that personal relationship with God. That is within you. The newest book I just got is by Milana Snow. Milana Snow was one of my favorite guests from Beautiful Brown Girls when I had my talk show. She did an energy breath work with me online live, and it probably was only like 10 minutes. But when I tell you, it changed my life and it really started my healing journey. She just wrote this book, and the book is called It's All Within You: 7 Principles to Access Your Innate Power and Heal from the Inside Out. It's within us. Everything that we need is within us. We have the Holy Spirit within us to be able to guide us. We have that divine guidance. We have the ability to talk to God about whatever it is that we need to talk to God about. Okay. So don't let people knock you off of what you're supposed to be doing because they don't understand. That is their issue. Okay. Not yours. Let me grab some more comments. Okay, so we have a viewer from Bahrain, and he says, even here in this region, they tell people not to question anything, but that's just humankind trying to control us. One of the reasons that they demonized our cultural practices and told us that we had to look externally to figure out what to do is because that is where our power lives, is inside of us. If you're a Christian or identify with Christian principles, when Jesus left, when Jesus ascended into heaven, Jesus left the Holy Spirit behind for us. And the Holy Spirit's job is to be able to guide us and connect us to what God wants us to do. It is in us. It's in us. If these people promote not questioning and say God just wants you to follow and not question, those are red flags. And that's how I grew up. I grew up that it was like, don't ask no questions, just do what I said. That's it, that's all. Don't ask me nothing, just do what I said. And that is a huge red flag because even God says, ask me and I will show you. Test me and I will prove it to you. God says that. So why are people telling me that I can't ask questions when God, all knowing, all powerful, all present God is saying, what's up? What you worried about? What your questions are? Tell me. No problem. That's a human limitation. Okay. So we have to recognize that. I wanted to go back and pick this up too. Twisha said adults drinking alcohol was all right. That's crazy how advertising and people wanting to sell harmful things to us formed our opinion on things. So I've told y'all before that I stopped drinking in 2022. One of the best decisions that I ever made for myself. And not that I was out here drinking all the time, I really wasn't, but I didn't like how it made me feel. I didn't like how it felt in my body. I didn't like, I didn't like it. I was doing it because that's something that you do, but I didn't like it at all. It was not fun. And now being on the other side and not drinking, it's very interesting when I'm around people who drink because a lot of times people feel like they need alcohol in order to show up in a space or to have fun. And alcohol is literal poison that we put in our body. But that's all right. Now they got beer commercials, they got liquor commercials, they got all of that. Put all of that poison in your body, but don't put these plants in your body that's going to actually help your body to do what it's supposed to do and heal. Go figure. Hello, capitalism. So, anyway, enough of that. Soul work is to ask yourself, what are my instructions? What am I supposed to be doing that God has already told me to do? Okay. What are my instructions? What am I supposed to be doing that God has already told me to do? For myself, the truth is, my life motto is to leave people, places, and things better than I found them. That is something that my mother used to say to me all the time is to leave people better and leave places better than you found it. And it really is my primary goal in life. If you hear anybody say that around me, know that that is because I have said that to them. Leave people better than you found them. So, in this 45th year of life, my personal new year, I did some research, right? Because again, the people out here calling me things, but numbers also have significance. So I did some research about the number 45 and what that means. So I want to tell you all what I found. So the first is that 45 represents transformation and balance. It represents a mix of rigidity of the number 4 and freedom of the number 5, encouraging a balance between structure and adaptability. 45 is seen as a time for personal growth, where old patterns are released to embrace new perspectives. It also represents cycles of completion. 4 plus 5 equals 9. This number symbolizes the end of a cycle, encouraging reflection, letting go, and humanitarian efforts. In the Bible, 45 years is linked to the time that it took for Caleb to receive his inheritance after leaving Egypt. It symbolizes the waiting period for God's promise. In AD 45, Paul and Barnabas began their missionary work, highlighting a period of spiritual expansion. 45 also represents personal development. It is often viewed as a time to spiritualize daily life, finding deeper meaning in mundane, everyday experiences and embracing change. The number 45 is associated with the concept of being a noble person, focusing on service to others. In essence, 45 is seen as a vibrational energy urging individuals to trust the process of change, find balance, and complete old cycles to move into a more purposeful, service oriented life. The chat said, Eva, Shando. Okay. I said, well, amen to all of that because I resonate so deeply, especially with like the cycle of completion and releasing old patterns and embracing new perspectives. I have enjoyed my 40s so far. And I feel like when you get to 40, that you really are in that space of like, this is my next life. And what does this look like for me? And so I feel that like deeply, the letting go and the focusing on the service and spiritual expansion. It's funny, I said to myself, because I'm starting to read this book, right? It's all within you. And I have a one-on-one that I need to do with Milana. And a part of me was like, I'm kind of scared because I know that I have not unlocked all the power that I hold. I know that. And sometimes I be nervous because I'm like, if I really unlock all my power, hey, I'm gonna be unstoppable. Like, I know that, but also what does that actually mean? And like, what does that actually look like? And like, what actually has to be sacrificed for that? And like, that's the thing I think that kind of scares me a little bit. But I'm doing it anyway. That's what I want y'all to know. I'm doing it anyway. Okay. Because it is all the writing is on the wall for what this season is supposed to look like and how my life is supposed to expand from this point. So it's a lot, but I'm excited. I'm excited about it. And so then the other thing that I wanted to say along with that, so I'm an Aquarius, right? And all my life, I have never identified as an Aquarius, to be honest with you. Aquarius are often known as being like weird and like aliens and not fitting in and all of that. And I spent so much of my life trying to be normal and regular, whatever the hell that means, that I never really equated myself with Aquarian tendencies until I've been going through this unmasking journey, understanding what it looks like to be neurodivergent and understanding who I want to be in my 40s. So I want to add this layer to y'all. Okay. So the core characteristics of an Aquarius: independent and free spirited, values freedom above all else, and resists conventional, restrictive, or boxed in lifestyles. Intellectual and innovative, often described as a visionary and a deep thinker with a brilliant, unconventional mindset. Humanitarian and altruistic, driven to make the world better with a focus on community, social change, and supporting the underdog. Eccentric and nonconformist, proudly unique and often possesses a quirky, eclectic sense of style or unconventional hobbies. Aloof or detached, can appear emotionally reserved, cold, or unpredictable, as she is guided more by logic than sentiment. Honest and witty, socially engaging, but hates small talk, preferring to talk about ideas and the big picture. And then they listed things like rebellious, loyal but needs space, and stubborn. And oh my God, the chat says in like all the ways. I identify with all of that at this phase in life. And I'm talking to the T, all of it. Because I really am, like, I really, especially when they say rebellious, I do not like to do what everybody else is doing. I hate it. I don't want to do it. If everybody else is doing it, I'm not doing it. That's all the way down to TV shows. I'm not watching it when everybody else is watching it because people are only watching it because everybody else is watching it. And I hate it. I hate it so much. So that's also hilarious to me that the more that I get to know about myself, the more that I'm like, huh, all of this was already here in the first place. I considered naming this episode Aquarius by Birth, Activist by Design, because after reading all of that, I said, who are some Aquarians that actually like align with where I am in life? Let me tell you. Let me tell you some of them. First, I'm gonna start off with entertainers. Kelly Rowland, who I love. Okay, she just had a new episode of House Guest with Scott Evans. I don't know if y'all watched that show, but you should. It's a good time. Scott Evans is the host. I want to say he's on, I don't know, is Access Hollywood or Entertainment Tonight, one of those network entertainment shows that you watch to catch up on what's happening in entertainment. Scott Evans has been on the show for a long, long time, but now he has his own YouTube platform called House Guest. And he had Kelly Rowland on the other day. I love Kelly Rowland. She is really the way that she shows up in her spirit, in the way that she makes space for other women, in the way that she reminds me of myself. Like she calls people, people have said this, that Kelly will call and be like, but how's your spirit though? How's your spirit though? Because I don't want to have all this small talk with you. How are you actually, is what I'm trying to figure out. So, love Kelly Rowland. Megan the Stallion Pete, okay, is another notable Aquarian. Brandy Norwood, Kerry Washington, and Tabitha Brown. All of these are notable Aquarians who I follow, and I'm like, all the things. So then I said, who are some activists? Angela Davis, Audre Lorde, Alice Walker, Toni Morrison, Rosa Parks, Frederick Douglass, and Langston Hughes, all notable Aquarians. And then I said to myself, it makes sense. It literally makes sense that God would say, send her down there, born on February 14th, which, mind you, I was actually doing January, y'all. I was due in January, child. And I said, January? Who wants a January birthday? Who wants that? Matter of fact, let me hang on to February. And also let me come in on the day of love at 6 in the morning. At 6 in the morning, I made my grand entrance into the world. Hello, I am here. Absolute Aquarian energy and came in with this spirit of we gonna do what's right. We're gonna do what's right by people. So the activism in it all is like it just makes all the sense in the world, and it makes me so much more intentional about how I show up and what I choose to do, what I choose to say, and what that looks like and sounds like for me. Okay. Now, I want to take us on a field trip. Okay. Because the comment in the chat says, Fetus Kimberlin was like, girl, I'm waiting for the day of love. And was, girl. I can't just have no basic birthday, girl. I got to come in with a bang, girl. Come on now. Okay. So, y'all know I'm from New Orleans. I was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, in Charity Hospital, which is no longer there. But I'm from old New Orleans, okay? 1981. You feel me? Okay. Um, so I'm from New Orleans, and one of my favorite times in New Orleans is Mardi Gras time. I will get into this in a minute, but Mardi Gras is often around my birthday. And so, because when I was in school, I used to march in the parades, there were often times that I would have to march on my birthday. And there were always people in the crowd, my mom or my friends, and they would have poster boards like, "Go, Kim, it's your birthday. Go, Kim, it's your birthday. Go, Kim, it's your birthday." And I would be like so embarrassed, but also so excited because it is my birthday. Loved it, right? But anyway, I want to take us on a field trip to New Orleans, my place of birth. Okay. Now, the first thing that we got to do is some etiquette about New Orleans and what that looks like and sounds like. Okay. Now, first of all, you pronounce New Orleans, not New Orleans. Nobody says that. Literally, nobody from New Orleans says New Orleans. And if you say New Orleans, we know that you are not educated on the New Orleans etiquette. So it is New Orleans. Now, this is where people get tripped up. We don't have counties in Louisiana, we have parishes. So New Orleans is in Orleans Parish. Okay. So Orleans Parish, but New Orleans is the way that you say the city. And I'm so glad somebody put this into the chat. It's actually Nolans. Nobody says that either. Only tourists say Nolans. We do not say that. We say New Orleans. Consider yourself educated. Okay. That's the first thing. Second thing, somebody tells you they're from New Orleans. The question we always ask is, what school did you go to? We're not talking about college. We are talking about high school. This is also how you can tell if somebody was pre-Katrina or post-Katrina, because post-Katrina, a lot of the schools are no longer there, right? So if you're talking to somebody who claims to have lived in New Orleans pre-Katrina, what school you went to? That's how you know. And that's the first question. We might also ask them what ward they from or what neighborhood you grew up in, right? Now, if you ask somebody what neighborhood they grew up in, most likely they might tell you the ward or they're gonna give you the neighborhood and the ward. Okay, now the wards are voting districts. But just so y'all know, I'm from the ninth ward. Okay. From that nine, but we don't mind dying. I do mind dying though. I don't know why they chose that slogan because what? But anyway, focus. So New Orleans, never Nolans, never New Orleans. The question that you ask is, what school did you go to? All right, that's how you know. All right, now it's Mardi Gras time, y'all. Oh, so let's practice pronunciations for Mardi Gras. We either say Mardi Gras or we say Mardi Gras. It depends on the accent, right? Mardi Gras or Mardi Gras. All right. Now, Mardi Gras season starts January 6th. January 6th is Epiphany. Now, a lot of y'all might be saying to yourself, now I thought Mardi Gras was the devil's work. What I need you to know is that New Orleans is they in the chat talking about 4 + 5 = 9 ward. Y'all see how all of this coming full circle? Y'all see? Y'all so anyway, Mardi Gras starts on Mardi Gras carnival season, if you will, starts on January 6th. That's Epiphany. New Orleans is a highly Catholic place. So most people, I'm not gonna say most, a lot of people in New Orleans are Black Catholics. Okay. And so the whole season is based around the Christian calendar. So January 6th is Three Kings Day. That's the day historically where the three wise men were supposed to go saw baby Jesus with the what he gave them, frankincense and myrrh, and I don't know what else the other gift was. But anyway, that's the day that the wise men were supposed to go see baby Jesus. That's Epiphany. So that's the day that carnival season starts. That's the day that they start selling king cakes. Okay. We'll get back to that in a second. And then Mardi Gras season runs all the way through the day before Ash Wednesday. So Mardi Gras Day is always the day before Ash Wednesday. Now, Ash Wednesday is the day where the Catholic people go down there to the church and they get the ashes put on their forehead so that they could repent for all the things that they've done over this time and turn their life around for the Lenten season. Lent is the 40 days before Easter. Okay. So Mardi Gras is the season before Lent, which is before Easter. Okay. So having said that, Mardi Gras date is different every year because it's based on a lunar calendar and it's based on Easter. So if you're trying to figure out when Mardi Gras is, you need to find Ash Wednesday. Mardi Gras is the day before that. All right. Okay. Now, um, the colors for Mardi Gras are purple, green, and gold, and they do have meaning. So the color purple represents justice, green represents faith, and gold represents power. And so when you have the king cake, and let me get my picture up here so y'all can see the king cake. Also, king cake, no S. Correct. It's just one king cake. Okay, it's a king cake. Unless you are buying multiple king cakes, then it's a bunch of king cakes. But a king cake is the actual way that you say it. All right. Now, this is a picture of a king cake. Now, let me tell you what it tastes like. So, a king cake basically tastes like a cinnamon roll. It tastes like a cinnamon roll with icing on top and sprinkled sprinkles on top. So it usually has like a purple, green, and gold sprinkles on top of it. And it tastes like a cinnamon roll, but it can also taste dry. So my recommendation would be if you're trying to have a king cake, that you get a king cake with filling on the inside. And they have all kind of fillings. So it might have strawberry, pralines, cream cheese, apple. It's all kind of fillings that they be putting inside the king cake. But get you a king cake that has a filling inside because that is going to make it a little bit more moist. If you just have a regular king cake, then it might be a little dry. Okay, I'm just letting you know. Now, the other thing that you see with the king cake is it's a baby. It's a baby that be inside the king cake. Now, the baby is supposed to represent baby Jesus. So what happens is when you get a king cake, you put the baby inside and then you cut the king cake, and whoever gets the slice with the baby inside, they are the king or queen for the day. And they also supposed to bring the next king cake. So a lot of times people don't be wanting to get the baby because they don't want to have to bring the king cake, but that's neither here or there. So it's a honor to get the baby in the king cake. Now, when I was teaching, my parents would send me king cakes for my birthday over the years. And I would always have them share them with my students because one, the comments said it looks yummy. It is yummy, but also it's sweet as hell. You talk about instant diabetes, instant. So I can't eat all of that, right? So I'm sharing the wealth with the children. And so I still have students to this day that are like, Miss Jackson, I still have the baby from the king cake. Like, it's so cute. But anyway, so you get the slice that has the baby, and now you are the king and queen for the day. You have good luck, like all the things, right? Okay. So the king cake is only sold during carnival season. We don't want no king cakes that's out of season. You only get king cakes from January 6th, which again is Three Kings Day, to whatever day Mardi Gras is. After that, we're not having no more king cakes for a while until Mardi Gras come back around. Okay, that's important etiquette to know. All right. Now, okay, I'm looking at all my notes to make sure I done went through all the things. Okay, yes. All right. So I told y'all I used to march in the parade. So I want to give y'all some etiquette and understanding about what it looks like at the Mardi Gras parades. Okay. So when I was in middle school, I was a cheerleader. I was a cheerleader from fifth grade through eighth grade. In eighth grade, we took a trip to Houston And we had our halftime performance, and my job was to do like the ending split, and I pulled a muscle. And so then when I got to high school, I tried to try out for cheerleading, but that muscle still had was pulled. And I couldn't jump. I could never jump. I don't have a lot of ups and hops. I've never been able to do that. Toe touches and herkies and all. I understand them in theory, but let me tell you, I'm getting off the ground probably not even that much. It's probably like that. It's probably like that. Wasn't cheerleading was not my ministry, okay? Then I wanted to try out for the dance team, but again, I had pulled that muscle, so the splits wasn't splitting, it wasn't giving, right? So I said, what is the next best thing that I can do? I know that I want to march in parades. I know that I like to dance. What is the next best thing that I can do? So I chose to join the banner carriers, okay? So the banner carriers and color guard operated together at my school. So I went to Xavier Prep. My school has gone through a few different iterations. So now the name has changed for the school, but back in my day, it was called Xavier Prep. And you can see we have our little outfits. Okay, so our colors were black and gold and white, and our mascot was the yellow jacket. And so our outfits or whatever were our yellow, black, and white little cute little outfits that we have here. And then you have the boots with the tassels. Okay, you got to have the boots with the tassels to be marching in the parades. All right, that's important. So I said to myself, I want to be a banner carrier because I want to be the first thing that they see when we walking down the street. I want to be right there introducing, hey, y'all, prep is coming through. So I was on the Banner Carriers and Color Guard for 4 years, from freshman year all the way to senior year. This is my junior year, actually, that this picture was taken. And so I was co-captain of the Banner Carriers. And you can see we also had a little mascot. She got a little bee outfit on, so she used to walk with us as well. And then the color guard carried the flag. So they carried the American flag, the Louisiana flag, and I forgot what that other flag is that got carried. But the color guards carried that, and then the banner carriers carried the banner. Okay. And there is definitely an art, okay, to carrying the banner and all of the things. All right. So that is what I used to do. Now, in the parades, we used to have a whole bunch of marching units. So it started out with the banner carriers. Then we would have who would be behind us? Then we would have, I think, the flag carriers behind us. Then we would have the band, then the majorettes. We would have flag twirlers. Then we have letter carriers. Now, first, let me show y'all the majorettes, because now these are not my majorettes, okay? These are majorettes from a different school. But I need y'all to understand when we say majorettes, what we mean in New Orleans, because these words have been co-opted to mean something else. Last week, we did our little HBCU Jackson State versus Southern University Dancing Dolls. We did a little snippet of that. They're now calling that majorettes. That is not what majorettes are. Majorettes use batons. Okay, y'all know what batons are? Okay, let me show you. Let me show you. So this is a video of a school called CAR, and where they are is on Chapatulas. Okay, so down on Chapatulas, that's where the parades get started, where they stage at. And while we're down here waiting for the parade to start, everybody is battling each other. Okay, everybody is battling each other. The bands are battling, the cymbals are battling, the drums are battling, the drum majors are battling with each other, the cheerleaders are battling, the freaking major. Everybody is doing some kind of battle, okay? But I want to give y'all an understanding of what majorettes do. So let's watch this right quick. So you can see, let me turn it down for you. So you can see they got them batons going. Okay. Now I couldn't try out for the majorettes because I only know how to twirl a baton with my right hand. I didn't know how to do it with my left hand. Okay. But these majorettes, baby, they be having it going. So you got to have the boots, you got to have the crown, you got to have the double batons. Okay. This is the majorette package. So that's the majorettes. But then I also want to show y'all, we also have flag twirlers that are present on the Mardi Gras route. So let me show y'all what the flag twirlers do. Now, these flag twirlers are from my cousin Kalanda's school, actually, McMain. They are also black, gold, and white, their colors. Okay, so here are the flag twirlers, so y'all can see how they twirl. So of course, this is not on the parade route, so they don't have their boots and their tassels on. They have their sneakers on, but they also, again, have two flags that they're twirling with, right? So much like the majorettes, it's a double-handed situation that you got to have coordination on both sides. So when we're in the Mardi Gras parades, we've got all of these, what they call marching units, right? So again, we have the banner carriers, the flag carriers. The flag carriers have the tall flags. So y'all have probably seen them like in college performances that they'll be out there on the fields and stuff. So we had tall flags, we had short flags, we had majorettes. We also had letter carriers that would be there. Okay, now the next thing that you need to know about Mardi Gras is that you don't have to be flashing nothing, okay, in order to get beads. Okay, you don't have to flash anything. All you have to do is say, hey, hey, and that's how you get the beads. Okay, you don't have to flash your body parts. All you gotta do is say, hey. And then people will throw things to you. Okay, that's how it works. Okay, now at the parades, there are day parades and then there are night parades. Okay, so the day parades happen in the day, clearly, and they happen really like leading up to Mardi Gras weekend. The night parades don't start, I want to say, at least back in my day, they started on Thursday before Mardi Gras. So Mardi Gras is February 17th, next Tuesday. We like to say everywhere else is just a regular Tuesday, but in New Orleans, everything is shut down. Okay. So next Tuesday is Mardi Gras. So starting this Thursday, they're going to start having the night parades. At the night parades back in the day, they would need lights because it's nighttime, right? And the infrastructure wasn't a whole bunch of street lights and stuff. So they created this position called flambeau. So I want to show y'all what the flambeaux look like and what they do during the parade. Now, granted, today they don't have to have the flambeaux because we have street lights, but back in the day, they did have flambeaux. And so there's a really big history that goes behind them. So I'm gonna give us a chance to watch this and learn about the flambeaux who are present during the Mardi Gras night parade.
Fire illuminates the night. First one, then many torches light, bringing a parade into view as masked crew members ride their floats. Another group, just as old and just as storied, walks alongside, bringing light to the carnival night. For more than a century, flambeaux, mostly African American, have walked in New Orleans' largest and oldest parades.
We're gonna go home, we're gonna come out here, we're gonna make this money, enjoy ourselves, and have fun. I've been doing this for 17 and a half, almost 18 years. Yeah, generations of my family, mother and father, and uncles. For a long time.
Often overlooked by visitors, these essential members have created a parading culture all their own. In return for tips, they walk, dance, and light the parades.
A flambeau, that's the world greatest thing in New Orleans. It's an honor to carry a flame. Because guess what? That's just like carrying a flame in the Olympics.
Once a necessity, flambeau culture is now an art form all its own. So, when you next attend a Mardi Gras parade, make sure you bring a few dollars and join the tradition of tipping the keepers of the light.
So at the parade, again, at the night parades, you'll see the flambeaus and they really be cutting up. Now, this is what I want you to know about a parade is that parades are like 14, 15 miles long. Okay. So somebody said over here about the majorettes, they said it looks tiring. Imagine that you twirling and dancing and flamboying for 14, 15 miles along the parade route. Like it is serious, but playing instruments, like all of that for a long, long time. Okay. It is quite a spectacle to see. The comment says, I love seeing our people full of pride. Yes. And Mardi Gras is definitely a time where it's total everything is about pride and what that looks like for us and what our culture looks like and all of that. So the next part that I want to show y'all is the second line. Okay. I was about to say, raise your hand if you done heard of a second line. Okay. Now, second line is a dance. The comment said, dude was carrying a propane tank. Yes. And fire. And dancing with it. And dancing with it. Okay, I need you to know New Orleans is like no other place, okay, in this world at all. So, an additional part of Mardi Gras culture and New Orleans culture is the second line. Now, again, raise your hand if you have heard of the second line. Tell me in the chat or in the comments. But the second line is basically, it started out as a tradition, honestly, around funerals and people going on and passing on. And so the first line is the band and the family, and then the second line are everybody that's coming in to join along. Now, I'm not going to show y'all the funeral version of the second line. I'm going to skip directly to like the celebratory second line, but I want you to go and do your research, okay? Also, I'm going to put the links to all these videos into the chat, into the description, so y'all will be able to go and watch them.
The second line is like a magnet. They draw all kind of people, and you know they all walk on the streets together like in one big old pile.
This is how we end off a party with a great second line, baby.
Oh, watch out, y'all.
That's the second line. And so during Mardi Gras season, second line bands are definitely a part of everything that is happening. And there are different second line bands that have different songs. So like Rebirth Brass Band or the Hot Eight. So there are all of these second line bands that are also a part of the culture, right? So then people are second lining. And so with a second line, you got to have your little napkin that you're putting in the air, or you have you an umbrella, or actually it's a parasol. A parasol is a cloth umbrella that is decorated, is what it's supposed to be. But if you ain't got one of them, girl, get you your umbrella, girl, and get on out there and do that little two-step, you feel me? The comment said, wow, these people are living life to the fullest, so much energy and passion. Yes. So, second line culture is really big as well during Mardi Gras. Now, the last thing that I want to show y'all are the Mardi Gras Indians. Okay. Now, when I was younger, I grew up in the Ninth Ward. And so the Ninth Ward is downtown. A lot of these things were happening uptown or in Treme. Treme is the oldest neighborhood in New Orleans. It's the oldest Black neighborhood. It's the neighborhood where jazz was born, where people like Louis Armstrong came up and developed jazz. And Treme is really the heartbeat of a lot of the African culture that is present in New Orleans. So you saw Armstrong Park is a really big park that's in Treme and Armstrong Park. They also have Congo Square, which is where Africans used to meet to dance. I don't know if y'all know this, that New Orleans was a very big slave port. But it also was a place that had a lot of free people of color before slaves were even brought into New Orleans. So all of those mixes of indigenous people and African people and Haitian Creole people and all of that kind of comes together in the way that our culture is set up. So the Mardi Gras Indians is a really deep part of the culture that I never really got a chance to fully experience when I was home. I wish I would have had more of a chance, but we're going to experience it together. Okay. So let me go ahead and cue up the Mardi Gras Indians so we can learn a little bit more about them.
Remember that evening. I remember that moment. It was rocking New Mona. It's my ball. Let him come now. It's my ball.
When the Indians come out, people from all over the world, they coming to see the Indians. If the drum's right and I get their spirit, they gonna get something special. Our tribe started in 1992. I was the first original spy boy of our tribe, and now I am the only original one left living. The 1300 block is my whole family. We've been on this block since I was a baby. This is where it started, you know. Got the gang of the nation y'all about to see. Gang flag! When Black Feather come out, it is the block party. This culture is about how the slaves got freed. And a lot of songs that we sing, what our families before our time in the 1800s had to go through to get what we are now. You know, everything means something. All the chants mean something. Because a lot of people don't know the culture. This gotta be in your heart. This gotta be in your soul. This gotta be, you gotta learn this. And that's my son. He's my spy boy. And the reason why he's my spy boy, because we gotta earn that. I earned my position. I ran every position in the tribe before I became a chief. I'm always thinking big.
There you go.
I just sleep and I dream about my next suit.
He the mastermind for us, doing all the sewing, decorating. He do all that. I put it together. And that's how we come together with our creativity. Everything you see on here is one bead at a time. Nothing on here is glued down.
That crown by itself, well, 125 pounds.
So how much is your whole suit by the end of it?
Close to 210, something like that. Cuffs, boots, all that. It's hard to do this. Now, I done spent over $15,000 on this suit. It took 3 days just to do this silver part. It's uncontrollable. My wife be telling me, come on, babe, let's go to sleep. Girl, I gotta finish this piece. You know what I'm saying? This one of my favorites. So my cousin Lionel, he taught me all this. He was the greatest. He was my idol. He was my teacher. When I made this suit here, that was the first time he ever told me, man, you pretty. Man, you did your work. You stepping on my toes. And see, when he told me that, I know, I say, man, I got this thing. Now everybody looking for me to hold on to it and keep it going. It's a family name. That's why now it's in my heart. I gotta make them proud. I gotta keep on doing what I'm doing. I just gotta keep on doing what I'm doing.
But yeah, so the Mardi Gras Indians are a really big part of the Mardi Gras season as well, and a part of New Orleans culture. Again, their year starts on Mardi Gras Day, and then it goes throughout the rest of the year. And so that's also a really big part of New Orleans. So when you have the opportunity, I'm going to go ahead and name it. When you have the opportunity to go to New Orleans and you have the opportunity to go to a second liner, you have the opportunity to go to Super Sunday, then you'll get to see these pieces of New Orleans culture that make things so unique to the way that I grew up and what that looked like and sounded like for me. So Especially now, knowing in hindsight that my great great grandmother was indigenous, it's really important to me to continue learning about these pieces of culture and these pieces of Black history. I told y'all for Black History Month, my goal is to learn something new or something deeper. And being able to learn something new and deeper about the place that I grew up and cultures that I knew about, like in passing, but not deeply, is really important to me because it helps me to feel even more connected to my ancestors and connected to my heritage. So, thank you all for taking a trip with me to New Orleans and having your crash course in Mardi Gras and New Orleans and King Cake and how things operate. All right. It's going to be a quiz at the end of it. No. But I'm a no. Because if you come up to me talking about, girl, you from New Orleans, I'm gonna be like, see, you didn't watch the episode. You ain't real. You ain't real. Because I'm giving y'all the tips so you could sound more like a native, okay, when you go down there. So yeah, so that's it that I have for today. I again really appreciate you all hanging out with me for my birthday. I didn't say this earlier, and I guess I should be intentional in saying this now. If you are wanting to bless me for my 45th birthday, you can do that in a few different ways. So you can do that by going to Cash App at $ Kimberlyn Jackson. You can use Venmo at Kimberlyn Jackson. You can also buy me a coffee. So if you go to buymeacoffee.com/Kimberlyn J, you can also give me a gift there. I also have an Amazon birthday list that you can use if you want to buy me like an actual things that I might need. So if you go to tinyurl.com/Kimberland birthday 2026, then you'll be able to access my 45th year birthday list. So I would also appreciate that. And if you aren't able to do any of that, but you still want to find a way to connect, please come and connect with me in the archive, y'all. Come over to patreon.com/minding my black ass business. And again, you are able to join for $5 a month. There is a 7-day free trial through the Inner Circle. Or you can just join outright, $5 a month in the archive. And that goes to support all the work that I do, all the advocacy and activism work, and really creating these communities. This is difficult work, and it needs financing. So every $5 goes towards that. And then in return, you get community and you get insight and you get access. Okay. So I would love to see you in any of those spaces. And thank you to you all for hanging out with me. The last thing that I want to share is my closing quotes for this episode as I think through what this 45th year of my life is going to look like. And this quote is by Audre Lorde, who is an Aquarius. Okay. So Audre Lorde says, when I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I am afraid. I shared with you all that sometimes I say to myself, I'm a little afraid of what my real power looks like. And I am committing that this year that I'm going to release that fear and I'm really going to embrace my power and my strength and allow God to do what God wants to do through me. So I invite you all to stay connected on this journey. I don't know where it's going, y'all. I have no idea, but I do feel that it's going to be really, really amazing. So I would appreciate you continuing on in this journey with me or joining for the very first time. Either way, I am deeply, deeply grateful. Keep in mind that again, after this week, we're going to have live episodes. All right. So all the bells and whistles and sound effects, y'all, that's going to be gone. All right. We're going to have to use our imaginations for that for a little while because your girl needs to reclaim some time. Reclaiming my time. Okay. So anyway, I love y'all so much. I appreciate y'all so much. Happy birthday to me. 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 All right, y'all. That's it. That's all. Bye. Thank you for listening to The Frolicking Truth, where joy meets justice and our nervous systems get free. Please be sure to like, rate, and comment. Subscribe to the YouTube page, Minding My Black Ass Business, and follow me on all social platforms. Until next time, bye.